You mentioned about books, about AI, but I think apart from AI, it's also good to read other books. So, for example, I read a lot of books which combine business and sales. And when it comes to business and sales and AI, I can recommend a book, McKinsey Way. It helps to understand how to AI may be applied, even though it is not written about AI. Why is that? Because companies, it's only three factors relevant. So one is the increase revenue or decrease costs or decrease risk. And when you would like to persuade your boss or your employees or anybody else to use AI at your company, I would like to ask you for a recommendation or write you some arguments based on these three levels, because all of them will for sure pass for somebody who is in charge of business. So either increase revenue, so how using AI will increase your revenue in the company, or how using this AI will reduce cost, or how using AI would reduce risk.
Welcome to the Conversations on Applied AI podcast, where Justin Grammans and the team at Emerging Technologies North talk with experts in the fields of artificial intelligence and deep learning. In each episode, we cut through the hype and dive into how these technologies are being applied to real-world problems today. We hope that you find this episode educational and applicable to your industry, and connect with us to learn more about our organization at appliedai.mn. Enjoy.
Welcome, everyone, to the Conversations on Applied AI podcast. I'm your host, Justin Grammans, and our guest today is Łukasz Borzęcki. Łukasz is the CEO of VM Software House, a company specializing in bespoke IT project implementation using a nearshoring model for the Central European countries of Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. The team is made up of experienced developers fluent in Java, C#, C++, Python, JavaScript, and PHP. Over the years, they have successfully completed more than 400 projects for clients from various industries. He's also a husband and proud father of 3. Although he loves his work, he also makes time to play the guitar and the accordion. And finally, he enjoys gaining a fresh perspective of making time to hike in the mountains. So I love getting out and taking walks in the nature as well, Łukasz. So thank you so much for being on the program today.
It's a pleasure, Justin. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, great. I talked a little bit about your company, and we will definitely talk about VM Software House as we get going. But I'm also always curious to find out how people got to where they are in their career today. So maybe you could kind of talk through a little bit of the trajectory of your career becoming CEO.
Yes, of course. It's funny because I started with sales. So my first job was to sell ERP software for other clients. And in the meantime, I studied computer science at Technical University of Wrocław. And then I decided to make a shift from sales to IT. And it's funny because now I can combine, sales and IT. It's even better because I remember from my beginning of my career, when I talk to my clients, then or answer the questions, my colleague said to my clients, okay, so now I would like to say what Łukasz has just said, because they didn't understand me. Yeah? So
yes.
I used the jargon instead of business language. And then, step by step, I tried to adjust and I learned the business language. And so I used to be a developer in the beginning of my career path, but quickly I realized that probably would not be an expert, and I joined the management path. In the management path, I didn't see any issues to go forward and to be more experienced. Then I was a project manager, product owner. Then my colleagues invited me to be as member of the board, and now I'm the CEO of the company.
Nice. And how long did that take? Like how long were you there?
So my first job was in 2002. I'm CEO now since 2016. So I've been CEO for 8 years.
Nice, good. Well, I always find people that can kind of play these dual roles, right? They can kind of talk to the engineering speak, but can also talk to the business. I encourage people that come out of school that are computer scientists or programmers or whatever to make sure that they get out and maybe either present or talk, because it's not just all about just sitting down and being a good coder and just writing code these days. That's my feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So my developers are now afraid of losing job. I try to replace them that AI won't replace employees, but employees who use AI will replace employees who won't. And of course, I'm certain that developers should be more focused on business language. So understand clients. So not only read the documentation or read the specification and do simple code, because this AI can do, but they should
Yes.
ask additional questions, especially business question. And the business should be more important than the pure code or, very good written code, but without common sense, without have possibilities to sell it. Yes. And I think these developers who understand this and apply this would have a very good marks on the market, and every entrepreneurs would like to employ them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess one of the questions I'll ask you is kind of how do you define AI? But, what I always think about is have machines do the things that they're really good at, which we're starting to find they're pretty good at writing code, and have humans keep doing the things that they're really good at, which is really connections, interactions, understanding the big picture, all that type of stuff. So how do you define artificial intelligence? It's I think it's difficult, but I always like to ask people on here, like when people say, what do you do when you're working in AI? What do you tell them?
In the beginning, I was skeptical that AI could help me. But since then, I found a lot of ways that it makes me more productive. It helps me not only with busy work, because nobody wants to do busy work,
Yes.
but also to be more productive. And I save a lot of time. And for example, now I have time for writing posts on LinkedIn, which I was missed for many years. As CEO, I knew that I should do this, but I didn't have enough time. So for me, AI is kind of tool which help us to be more productive or reduce this busy work. So be more focused on strategical thinking and strategic tasks, and think how to use AI in a proper way. And this shift changed me a lot. Yes. So in the past, I wanted to do everything by myself because, of course, I'm, the best guy who made the best action. I'm also a workaholic.
Yeah.
And now I'm all the time have on the back of my head the question, okay, so what else? What other tasks AI can help me?
Yes, for sure. And it's an exciting time because AI is changing. The capabilities of what it can do seems, every week there's more and more capabilities of what it can bring to the market, right? We talked a little bit about your company, and let's dive in a little bit more. You guys are called VM Software House, and you guys do lots of work tell me a little bit about sort of like what industries you guys working in, how are you guys applying AI? What are you seeing from customers when you're out in the field talking to them?
We help our clients to deal with legacy software. So many of our clients have developed the software for the last 20, 30 or 40 years and products, but not only product, but also thinking about quality, also processes, infrastructure, automatization is quite obsolete or doesn't exist. And our goal is to help our clients to modernize the software together with all process, and we teach also developer how to implement it. So we not only share the summary with 3,000 pages how to do this properly, but also step by step we help our clients to make it together with us. And for sure, AI is very important tool for us. For example, we teach our clients how to use Copilot in refactoring. I mean about GitHub Copilot, of course, because it's specially written to write the software, which may release developers from repetitive tasks like writing the documentation, writing test automation, writing README file, for example, or at least to work as a pair programming. So developer who is hesitant, introvertic to talk to other people, may ask your algorithm how to make it better. And when it comes to sectors, we are present in semiconductor, automotive, education, industry, finances. So all the industries where software exists in the past many years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's funny you talk about Copilot. I absolutely love it. I've been programming for more than 25 years now, and a lot of people that I have met over the past couple of years have been like, oh, it always gets stuff wrong. It always gets stuff wrong. But I'm finding it more than oftentimes it always gets stuff right, actually, for me. Yeah. And obviously they say this is always the worst that it's going to be, right? It's always going to be getting better, of course. And it's especially some of those mundane things. Like when I go out and speak to, I present at a fair amount of conferences and stuff. And even things like one example that I show is writing like a cron job, right? And that, these are things that it's pretty easy to mistake it and basically have the cron job run, hours, minutes, days, seconds, stuff like that. And so I show an example, really good example, where a machine can check those things and be like, oh, based on the known requirements, this thing is wrong. So it's those little meticulous things that computers are really good at that a human would, if you were doing a code review, you'd be like, yeah, that looks good. Let's just move on with it, right?
And the comma is missing or...
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so again, it's small stuff, but it's also for me, I also, maybe I'm dealing with a new library that I don't really know a lot about. And of course, there are some documentation out there, but oftentimes it's easier for me to say, how would I write this in whatever? And it was just spit out the code for me. So
So Justin, I have the same issue. So I feel myself as an evangelist about AI. So for example, all of presentation I prepare as being CEO, I made a lot of presentation for a public, for investors, for member of the board, for employees, for our clients, and in all of them I include AI pictures, even though they don't look perfectly fine. So 100% fine. It's 2024. How it will look like in the following 2 years. It's incredible, function well. Of course, the huge change was when I changed from a chat GPT or a Copilot to Midjourney. It was huge shift, huge, amazing what Midjourney can do. But going back to Copilot you mentioned, let's take, for example, Ilama. You can use it also offline, but then it requires, for example, to change mindset about buying hardware. So in the past, you were more focused on processor, and now GPU is more important. And not only for gaming, but for make it more smoothly. And then when you are in the aeroplane or when you are in public transport, for example, you can use Ilama to suggest you. Of course, it doesn't bring you the 100% accurate answer, but of course, for example, in the Chrome, as you mentioned, it will allow you to make it much faster and without so many errors. So the people who are telling me that AI is now a gimmick only, I try to persuade them, okay, maybe for some reasons now, but for sure in the few following years, many of us would be required to use it on a daily basis.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I think is interesting is just about the history of AI, right? It's actually been around for quite some time, right? It's been around since the 50s, I guess. It was started in Dartmouth College and has gone through these.
It's not new idea, exactly.
Yeah.
Now it's much popular.
Yeah, it's gone through these phases. I think what's new is the generative AI piece, right?
Yeah.
That's what kind of is what you're seeing as the sort of the turning point that people are using it a lot for now.
So I was amazed when I listened to Wojciech Zaremba. He's one of Polish guy who is on a high position in OpenAI. And he told us that it's now like change, but it is not like from 0 to 1. It is all the time developing. And for example, some of algorithms in some fields are now better than human. And in other fields, they will be better than human in few years. But it's similar like with evolution. For the human or for other tiers, for example, it's not possible to find it happened in 1500 BC. It's not possible. And from 1501, it was something different. No.
Yes.
So it's kind of evolution. And it's same with algorithm. It will be still developed. It's the question about also hardware, about the software, about the people, about use people, the software, also about the law. Yes, so law is, for example, in the European Union, a very important thing. And sometimes it stops us to develop faster than, for example, in the United States or in China, for example.
Yeah. Well, what are you seeing? Are you watching that pretty closely in the EU? So it's a lot of different, I guess, how you guys handle this versus the United States.
Yes, so Poland is a member of European Union together with, for example, Germany or France. And it's not easy, to be honest. So now it's published AI Act. It's kind of document which describes what's possible or what's not possible. And I can mention one of our projects we developed for our clients. It's a project for a company who make a certification of German knowledge. So somebody who would like to study in Germany needs to pass a certification. And we help them to move from paper version to digital version using also AI, for example, to assess essays or some long tests on a various level, or for example, recording audio or video. And in AI Act is written that such kind of soft, not skills, but processes it's not possible to use only AI. Also, human needs to be evolved. Like, for example, if you would like to take a loan, it's possible that AI would prepare credit ranking, but based on AI Act, so this law document, it's not possible. So in all of processes, human has to be involved and human needs to make the decision at the end. So for sure, it's not so flexible compared to the United States law.
Interesting. All right. So that human has to be in the loop, and ultimately they need to make the final decision.
So AI can help to make this decision, but the final decision or signature needs to be signed by a human. Exactly.
Yeah. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, at least right now. There's an interesting book. I probably have mentioned this in a prior podcast by a guy named Ethan Malik. He has a book called Co-Intelligence. And the whole idea is that we should be using AI systems collaboratively, right? We should bring them to the table and have them involved, but not ultimately sort of hand the reins off to them, right? So it sounds like that's the spirit of the law in the EU.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Well, cool. I mean, so that's a good example of ways of maybe some of the work that you're doing with your clients. I mean, the other thing I think is interesting is AI is just sort of this umbrella of things. You might have machine learning, you might have deep learning. Some of these systems are actually using kind of computer vision, it's kind of already been around for a long time. Have you guys been using that, I'm guessing, in some of your applications?
So we have started thinking about the project together with our clients who make a grinding of wood. And now the issue they have, the people who are working on these big machines in a fabric work in shifts. So 24 hours. So at least they have 4 shifts. And all of engineers who set up this machine have something different in mind how to set up this machine.
Yeah.
And at the end, the product is also different. So not the same deepness, not the same shape and everything. And we work now on gathering information, how to put in the machine sensors, how to put their cameras to analyze the data and then help these engineers to set up this machine properly, that in all of the shifts, 24 hours, they receive the same product all the time, whoever worked there. So, for example, in Germany, it's a lot of people, some of our clients have 28 nationalities in 200 companies. And it's not easy to onboard everybody, especially that not everybody speaks German, for example. And such kind of tool may help new employees to be on board much faster and to have better results. So I believe the computer vision is very important, and for sure we will use it in our product as well for our clients.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, again, it's one of these things where, that's using AI. It's been around for a long time. Of course, it's getting better and better, but everyone loves talking about large language models and generative AI, but there's a lot of really, really good applications just using computer vision for sure as a part of that.
Yeah.
One of the things I mentioned at the beginning was playing guitar and accordion. How long have you been doing that? And how do you think that maybe changes the way that you approach your work?
I've played accordion since I was probably not maybe child. So my grandfather and father played accordion, and they found their wives by playing instruments. I also find my wife by playing guitar. So probably it's a kind of tradition. I will see if one of my children will also find their wife playing instrument. And for example, I use accordion now to make the better environment or better family environment in our companies. For example, I take accordion, and in all of birthday our employees have, I take accordion and play happy birthday for them.
Oh,
and
wow.
I believe it's something unique. So I don't know another company which does this.
I haven't.
So even though they will leave or they left our company, they all recall and send me sometimes SMS that I missed your accordion playing and, celebrate the birthday because it's something special for employees.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think any way you can make your workplace unique and have it stand out. I've never heard of that before. So that's great having the CEO come and playing you happy birthday.
It's important. So every 3 weeks, for example, we make some kind of summary, what we did in the last few weeks, what we are going to do in the next few weeks to be up to date with all of our employees. And we take this opportunity to send in a gratulation for people who have anniversary at our company, for example, birthday. So it's important, we are quite a family. With this approach, we have lower fluctuation and the people are more engaged in our clients' project. And I believe we receive a better result and our clients are more satisfied. So it's only a small thing we can do, taking accordion, and it's pleasure for me. So why not to do this?
That's great. Well, speaking of new people kind of coming into the field, how do you recommend, if I was coming out of school, how do you think I should get in and sort of approach AI and start learning more about it? What are some good ideas?
Yeah, so AI is somehow combined with computer science. So, for example, I was devoted computer science in the very beginning. In late 90s, my father started working in some German company and received a laptop. Probably it was the first laptop in our city. And I could use it and train myself on this computer science. And I knew from
Nice.
the very beginning that I would go somewhere in IT. I was not sure if I would choose hardware or software. At the end, I use software and later the management. When it comes to AI, it's a huge change. So, for example, my son is in Scouts. Yes, so he organized some group of Scouts, but also have his own challenges. And he found the challenge of web developer. And I wanted to help him to achieve this challenge. And in the past, you needed to install the environment, connect this, configure it, and everything. And I simply asked ChatGPT, okay, so could you help me with this?
Yes.
In the first 15 minutes, we had everything set up.
Nice.
We were common sense, we were recommendation. And now my son is talking to ChatGPT how to go deeper. Yes, how now he moved from PHP to Python, for example. And it's really easy. So when it comes to AI, I think the first thing is not to be afraid. And we can't do anything wrong. So at the end, we need to use our common sense and we need to be sure what we would like to achieve. And then it's a lot of tools which can be used, like probably in the beginning, Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude, to chat with these tools for generating pictures, probably Midjourney, I would recommend for other things. For example, I also made my AI-generated clone. It is really funny. I recorded it and I met last time my German teacher. And he told me, Łukasz, probably the video when you stand is better recorded than when you sit. And I told him, Wolfgang, it was my clone. Really?
Yeah.
It was your clone.
He didn't know that?
He didn't recognize the difference between myself as real and the clone. And for example, we use it in outbound marketing. Yes, so we combine my clone and real video to attract our client that we do something special because, our clients receive thousands of emails every day.
Yeah.
From various regions, various countries, and so we need to be creative. And for sure, AI helps us to be more creative as well.
Nice. Good. Yeah, I mean, I have 10 and a 12-year-old, but my 12-year-old son, we started doing a thing where we would just ask ChatGPT to give us a math problem at the end of the day, right? So we're generating math problems. Now, obviously, he already has enough math problems at school, but the ones that ChatGPT generates are actually really, really good and they're fun. It always creates something new, right? You can kind of endless.
Yeah. So last time, my 12-year-old son also asked me about helping him in math. And I tried to recall how the procedure of doing this task was, in his age. So then I asked ChatGPT and he wrote all of steps how to do this properly. I was amazed.
Yeah.
Incredible tool for other example for, teaching, for education. Really, it's a very good tool.
Yeah. Are you concerned at all that, again, my kids are still pretty young. They don't use it to find the answer yet, but I'm thinking obviously more and more kids are doing that, right? They figure, well, geez, I don't even need to memorize this stuff anymore because I can just automatically ask ChatGPT. And it's interesting because, when calculators came around, everyone's like, well, we don't need to do stuff the old way. Calculators will speed up the process. And so, some people have said, well, this is just no different than the calculator. It's just another tool for people to be finding the answer. But I feel like it's taken it to a new level now, right? It's starting to logic and reason. It's not just doing one little simple operation.
I think it depends. So, of course, you can use, for example, some translators, but having a knowledge of knowing foreign languages puts you on the complete other level. For example, I make every Saturday economic lesson for my children to teach them how to invest, how to understand stock market, how to understand bonds, the percentage, loans, law, everything which is, combined with economy. And I told them, basic calculating in your head is something crucial. For example, to calculate how much you can earn on various instruments or something like that is really crucial. Even though you have calculator, you need to know the basics. Yes, so of course, nobody of us remember all of lectures from philosophy, from history, from geography, and everything. But at least all of us know the basic, which can help us to understand the environment, the real life we are now. Yes, so I believe AI will enhance this process and help us, especially when we are bored, for example, or tired. You can use it, but I can't believe that it will replace us or replace this way of thinking.
Yeah, for sure. And I still think that, you need to know where to apply the tool and where not to apply the tool. And oftentimes, even right now, you still need to double check the tool.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not exactly sure.
Yeah, because ChatGPT sometimes wrote you something which doesn't exist, even with links. And only when you click these links, you discover that it doesn't exist. Yes, so sometimes
Yes.
I ask him to double check what he wrote. Going back to my LinkedIn posts, it helps me. For example, I make a post about some subject and I write him, okay, so please write me 2-3 sentences about this subject. So for example, 2 weeks ago, I wrote about Wrocław and I didn't remember how many islands it has, how many rivers are in our city, how many citizens is there and so on and so forth. So I wrote only the bullet points. Okay, so please write me, please check. And he did it, all the time. So normally I would spend a lot of time by research to take this data. Of course, I knew more or less how much it is. So, for example, if he mentioned that Wrocław has 100 islands, probably I would know that it's not true.
Yeah.
But still, if it's different 7 to 8, it's not a huge, fault.
Sure. Yeah. So how do people get a hold of you, Łukasz?
So I'm active in LinkedIn, of course. I also can mention my email address. Of course, phone number or WhatsApp, I'm available. So being a public person, everybody can reach me and use the channel is convenient for them.
Gotcha. And your website is?
vm.pl. So w.vm.pl.
Gotcha, for sure. And I guess I should have said this. We always post links and stuff like that in the notes on the podcast. So people will be able to follow and find you through the podcast. Yeah, is there anything else that maybe I didn't touch on that you specifically wanted to highlight, I guess, in our conversation today?
Yes, so you mentioned about books, about AI, but I think apart from AI, it's also good to read other books. So, for example, I read a lot of books which combine business and sales. And when it comes to business and sales and AI, I can recommend a book called McKinsey Way. It helps to understand how to AI may be applied, even though it is not written about AI. Why is that? Because in companies, it's only 3 factors relevant. So one is the increase revenue or decrease costs or decrease risk. And when you would like to persuade your boss or your employees or anybody else to use AI at your company, I would like to ask you for a recommendation or write you some arguments based on these 3 levels, because all of them will for sure pass for somebody who is in charge of business. So either increase revenue. So how using AI will increase your revenue in the company, or how using this AI will reduce cost, or how using AI would reduce risk. And I think it's very important because when you say, okay, it will give me additional freedom or will reduce my time, or okay, so for you it's very important, but for somebody who needs to prepare a report for a stock market or for investors, he needs to use one of these 3 fields I've just mentioned.
Yeah. No, I love it. Because, you can't really sell to leadership or management just the technology alone. You can't say, well, we're just going to start using AI. Well, these are the questions they need to run their business on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And this is regardless of whatever it is. I mean, AI is just one piece.
Yeah.
People are talking about cybersecurity. They're going to be talking about quantum. It's like there's always new technologies coming down the line. So if you can kind of boil it down to those 3 principles, you probably have a better use case of getting it kind of taken on by your business.
And another recommendation is a book called Model Storybrand, written by Donald Miller. It's funny because it's based on a plot in the film, in the movie, suggesting introducing AI. It's good to be humble. So a little bit back. How it works? So our client, our boss, should be a hero. So he needs to make the final decision. It's his business, it's his role or his department. Yes, so please, I recommend to give him a freedom. But we need to be a guide. Like, for example, Luke Skywalker was the hero.
Yes.
But Jedi was a guide for him. Without Jedi, Luke Skywalker would not win in the movie. And we need to be a guide. Okay, so a humble person who has a big knowledge, experience, who may make suggestions, but still be a humble guy who is staying in the background. And anytime when our boss or somebody in our company would need us, show up and then suggest, okay, so this is the solution for your issue.
Yes. No, I love Donald Miller. That's great. You're preaching to the choir. I have his Building a Story Brand book. And basically, that is one of the exercises I went through at my company was to sort of, you're right, you be that guide and you find out from your customers, well, how can you support them, right? So you're there to support them, what their ultimate storyline is. And you basically try and tell a story of how things can be better if they engage with you and how you can help them get to their goals. Yeah, awesome. Well, I will make sure I have a link to that book as well in our notes. So
it's very good recommendation. So I love it. I try to implement this in sales, in our company, also to persuade our employees, but also to teach them how to work among the team, with our clients, with employees. And I believe it's a good approach.
Absolutely. Well, awesome, Łukasz. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a great conversation. And look forward to keeping in touch with you in the future.
Yes, I'm looking forward also. Thank you. All the best for you. And thank you for your great job for this podcast and that you share your knowledge with society. It's a huge thing. Thank you very much.
Oh, sure. All right. Well, great. Have a good day.
You've listened to another episode of the Conversations on Applied AI podcast. We hope you are eager to learn more about applying artificial intelligence and deep learning within your organization. You can visit us at appliedai.mn to keep up to date on our events and connect with our amazing community. Please don't hesitate to reach out to Justin at appliedai.mn if you are interested in participating in a future episode. Thank you for listening.